Good evening. Welcome to Current Affairs. Today is January 27th, 2016. Today, I would like to talk to you with respect to the imposition of the president's rule in Arunachal Pradesh. So, it is really criticizing, it is really creating lots of problem to the central government at this stage. So, now what exactly is happened in Arunachal Pradesh? Before that, I would like to talk to you with respect to what exactly is the president's rule. Under the Constitution of India, so there is an article called Article 356. Under that one, the central government can declare or the president can impose the president's rule in any state with respect to the failure of the constitutional machinery or for the failure of the constitutional breakdown. But what exactly is this? What is the meaning of the failure of the constitutional machinery? So the constitution has not explained all these things clearly, but otherwise, whenever the chief minister and his ministers fail to perform their responsibilities, that is considered to be the failure of the constitutional machinery. And most of the times in India, this is the most criticized article as far as the constitution is concerned. This is because more than being used this article, it has been misused. Even in the Constituent Assembly, at the time of making of the constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar made it very, very clear that hopefully in India, this article should not be implemented at any point of time. What is the basic idea? Though the word federation is not mentioned in the constitution, in India, we follow the concept of federation, where there is a division of powers between central government and state governments. And we need to respect it. But whenever you impose the president's rule, that is nothing but the central government rule. Meaning, in that particular state, the state government is remote and the central government will take over all the functions of the state government. So this is one reason why it is being criticized. But now let's try to focus on Arunachal Pradesh. What exactly happened in Arunachal Pradesh? Is it the right decision on the part of the government to recommend to the President of India for the imposition of the president's rules? Though the president has asked some questions to the central government, finally the president has agreed for the imposition of president's rule in Arunachal Pradesh, and today it has been imposed. So, but otherwise, what happens if you look at the story with relation to this Arunachal Pradesh? Already the case that is related to the Arunachal Pradesh issue that is pending before the Supreme Court. That is pending before the Supreme Court, and 5-judge bench is looking into that case. In this particular scenario, president's rule has been imposed. Is it constitutionally valid, or is it going to create any embarrassment to the Narendra Modi's government? So these are the things that we are going to see now. So just because it is mentioned in the constitution, does the central government has the power to impose the president's rule? Is there really any breakdown of the constitutional machinery in Arunachal Pradesh? So these are the things we are going to understand now. What is the role of the Supreme Court? And you might have seen, so today the Supreme Court has given 2 days time to the central government. 2 days time to the central government for the explanation why exactly the president's rule has been imposed in Arunachal Pradesh. At the same time, the Supreme Court also issued the order to the governor of Arunachal Pradesh why the governor has recommended for the imposition of the president's rule. And the Supreme Court has given just 15 minutes time to the governor of Arunachal Pradesh. But how do you do it? So we have the mail system, and everything was expected to be present before the Supreme Court within 15 minutes. But with respect to the central government, 2 days time has been given, and on Friday, Day after tomorrow, the central government is expected to give the answers. So now the ball is there in the court of the Supreme Court. See here, this is not the first time that president's rule has been imposed in any state. So many times it has been imposed. But today, it is going to take a very, very serious turn. What exactly the Supreme Court is going to say, so we have to wait for 2 days. But we'd like to look into the background of this. Now, whenever there is a failure of the state machinery, then the president has the right to declare the state emergency or the president's rule in a particular state. But what is the problem? But what is the problem with respect to this Arunachal Pradesh? See, generally what happens, you have a legislature in Arunachal Pradesh. In Arunachal Pradesh, it is the unicameral legislature, meaning there is only one house and that house is the assembly. Under the Constitution of India, the state legislature must be summoned very frequently, and the gap between any two sessions of the state legislature should not be more than 6 months. But whereas in the case of Arunachal Pradesh, the 6 months gap has been lapsed, meaning more than 6 months are over and the state legislature was not summoned. This is one side of the argument. You need to understand Arunachal Pradesh issue very thoroughly, and definitely it is going to throw some light on various issues. What is the role of the governor? What is the role of the central government? What is the role of the president? Is the president's role just nominal, or president has something to do here? What about the role of the Arunachal Pradesh chief minister? Can the governor recommend to the central government for the imposition of the president's rule? Can he do so without the recommendation of the chief ministers? So these are all the things that we are going to see now. Various issues have come into the picture at a single point of time. That's the reason why today the judicial role is going to be very, very, very crucial. This is not the first time that the judiciary has entered into the scene. In the year 1994 itself, in SR Bommai case, the Supreme Court has given certain guidelines where and how exactly you can impose the president's rules. Is that okay? So now let me open the document and let me talk to you some points after showing you the document. And today I am restricting myself only to the discussion on the president's rule, that too that is imposed in Arunachal Pradesh. Is that okay? And today, as of today, president's rule is imposed in Arunachal Pradesh. But what is going to happen day after tomorrow? Whether the Supreme Court permits for the continuation of the president's rule, or Supreme Court is going to find fault with the central government, and Supreme Court, whether it is going to revoke the president's rule in Arunachal Pradesh. So we have to wait and watch. For logical understanding, I am going to show you some points now, so where you are expected to follow all these things. Am I clear? Now, just have a look at this. I am opening the document. Please look at this. The Union Cabinet recommended for the imposition of the president's rule in Arunachal Pradesh for the breakdown of the constitutional machinery. This is number one. And the assembly will be kept under suspended animation. It is already done. It is kept under suspended animation because the president has given the assent. And with respect to legislature, it is unicameral. You know what is the meaning of unicameral? There is only one house that is present in the state legislature, and that house is the assembly. And the strength of assembly is 60. The strength of assembly is 60, and the latest elections were held in the year 2014. It's okay, 2014. And look at the name of this person. This person is going to become a very, very controversial now, because the ball is there in the court of the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court ordered this person to submit all the files within 15 minutes. Within 15 minutes, what made you to recommend for the imposition of the president's rule in Arunachal Pradesh? Is that okay? Now look at this. Why is a breakdown and what is this breakdown? Look at this. So now we are going to talk something about two articles here. Article 174, Clause 1. Look at this. Very, very important. Under this one, the governor shall, from time to time, summon the house or each house of the state legislature. So this is what is mentioned in the constitution. So when it comes to Arunachal Pradesh, we are saying that it is a unicameral. Obviously, what will happen is that I am talking with respect to assembly only. So the governor shall from time to time summon the house or each house of the state legislature to meet at such time and place as he thinks fit. To meet at such place as he thinks fit. But 6 months shall not intervene between its last sitting in one session and the date appointed for its first sitting in the next session. Is that okay? See here, you must be remembering these points. While talking about the constitution, I was talking to you. The governor summons and prorogues the state legislature. Summon means he will arrange the sessions. On what date the session has to be organized and when it has to be prorogued. Prorogue means ending of the session. Everything will be decided by the governor. But as India is a parliamentary form of a government, the governor is expected to go by the advice of the chief minister. So these basic points, you already know this. Governor is a nominal executive, chief minister is the real executive. So in reality, when the house has to be summoned, will be decided by the chief minister. Accordingly, it is conveyed to the governor and the governor will issue the notification. So this is what is going to happen. Similarly, so whenever you want to prorogue the house, again, it is the chief minister who will recommend it to the governor and the governor will act accordingly. Point number 2. Next, but the same constitution also permitted that the governor can act according to his discretion. Discretion means without the advice of the chief minister, the governor is expected to act sometimes, but not every time. But what are all those areas? It's a very, very big topic, in fact. It's a very, very big topic. So we'll have a discussion later. But otherwise, normally, governor is expected to go by the advice of the chief minister. But whenever there is a threat to the parliamentary democracy, whenever there is a threat to the failure of the constitutional machinery, or whenever there is a constitutional breakdown, the governor is expected to talk to the central government directly and he can recommend for the imposition of the president's rule. So this is the point to which the central government is sticking today. And according to this, so according to the latest news, in Arunachal Pradesh, we have 60 members and 47 members belong to Congress party. And unfortunately, there was an internal rivalry between in the Congress party, internal rivalry in the Congress party, and there is lots of dissidents and some MLAs have come out. MLAs have come out from the Congress party and those rebel MLAs have been supported by BJP. Rebel MLAs have been supported by BJP and they have convened a meeting. So they have convened a meeting outside the state legislature. So during that time, the Speaker of the Assembly did not permit them to enter into the State Assembly. That is the reason why they have convened a meeting outside and a Deputy Speaker acted as the Speaker. And so during that time, so they have removed the speakers. So they have removed the Speaker and the Speaker has been gone. This is what happened in the month of December in Arunachal Pradesh. At the same time, they also introduced a no confidence motion against the chief ministers. So now what should be done? whether the meeting which is conveyed outside the assembly is valid or not. So these are the points that are there before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court 5-judge bench is already listening to this particular case. So when these things are going on, central government took a decision and they have imposed the president's rule in Arunachal Pradesh. And the governor is citing the example, citing the reason that there is a failure of the constitutional machinery, there is a failure of law and order in Arunachal Pradesh. And for this one, the chief minister is completely negating. And he's saying that there is not even a single mosquito which has been killed under my watch. So this is the statement that is given by the chief minister of Arunachal Pradesh. Okay. So now everything is present before the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has accepted to listen to this one. Already notice has been issued to the governor of Arunachal Pradesh. Notice has been issued to the central government, and we have to just wait and watch till after tomorrow what exactly the Supreme Court is going to say. Now, once again, I am opening the document. So kindly have a look at this. We'll see some more points. The first interpretation here is that in the case of Arunachal Pradesh, the next session should therefore have been taken place at the latest by January 21st, 2016. Meaning, just now we have seen in the previous paragraph, the gap between any two consecutive sessions should not be more than 6 months. In that case, what will happen? It should have taken place before January 1st, 2016 is the first interpretation. Is that okay? And the second interpretation is that the session was held on December 16th, 2015 outside the assembly building where majority of the members have voted. And it has been disputed by the Chief Minister Nabam Tuki. Presently, it is under litigation in the Supreme Court. It is already there in the Supreme Court. Is that okay? Now, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? Two things are there. You kindly have a look at this. Kindly have a look at this. If the court says two things, two interpretations I am talking to you. If the Supreme Court says that it is valid, even then it is a constitutional breakdown as the government is in minority and it is trying to stop the sessions to be held. This is a very, very serious allegation against the Chief Minister. Whatever the session that took place on December 16th, 2015, if the Supreme Court accepts that also, that will be coming under constitutional breakdown because the government came to a minority. So there is no majority. So because the MLAs got divided, there is no majority to the Chief Minister, and the Chief Minister and other ministers, with the support of the Speaker, they tried to stop the session that was supposed to be held. Is that okay? Look at this. The December 16th session was called in by the governor, but the Speaker, by using the official machinery, prevented the session. So the session was not permitted in the assembly. That's the reason why they conducted the session outside. Is that okay? Look at this. Next one. The Chief Minister said that there is no constitutional crisis and it was created by the so-called, and it was created by the governor. So this is what the Chief Minister has said. There is nothing like any constitutional failure. There is nothing like any constitutional breakdown, but it was created by the so-called governor, GOVER. Is that okay? Now, look at this. The present Chief Minister here, look at this. The governor recommended president's rule without consulting the state cabinet. So under this one, each and every point is important for our examination point of view. Since India is a parliamentary form of government, there is a definite necessary that the governor is expected to go by the advice of the Chief Minister. But whenever there is a constitutional breakdown, Does the governor has the right to take decisions on his own? Constitution has permitted the governor to act at his discretion. He need not be binding on the advice of the chief minister. Say, for example, during the situations of the constitutional breakdown, if you force the governor to go by the advice of the chief minister, just think, does the chief minister advise the governor to recommend for the president's rule? Meaning, so he cannot invite a trouble for himself. That's the reason why the constitution has given upper hand to the central government for the imposition of the president's rule. Is that okay? Number one, according to various interpretations, there is a failure of the constitutional machinery. And immediately after that, that is the reason why the speaker was removed. And immediately a case has been filed in the Supreme Court that is pending before the Supreme Court. During this time, the governor has recommended for the imposition of the president's rule, accepted by the central government, and the central government sent the request to the President of India. President, after consultation, he imposed the president's rule in Arunachal Pradesh. Immediately after that, Congress party approached the Supreme Court, requested the Supreme Court to look into this under urgent hearing, which was accepted by the Supreme Court. That's the reason why today Supreme Court issued notice to the governor of Arunachal Pradesh. Supreme Court also issued the notice to the central government. Is that okay? Very, very important one. If I go back to the 1994 ruling of the Supreme Court in SR Bommai case, Supreme Court made it very, very clear that if you want to give a chance to the chief minister to prove his majority, the right place to prove the majority is the floor of the assembly. It cannot be decided outside. Whether the Supreme Court is going to stick to the same judgment or Supreme Court is going to give some other orders, we have to wait and watch. Is that okay? Again, this shows the clear-cut differences between the central government and the state government. Which is more powerful? Shall we take India as a complete federation, where central government is not expected to interfere with the affairs of the states, or in order to save the state, the central government should be expected to take more powers? Is that okay? Since 1950, for the first time in India, in 1951, the president's rule has been imposed. Wherever it is imposed, every time it was a controversy. Today, again, the controversy has come to the forefront. At least this time, the Supreme Court, let's expect to give the clear-cut directions to the government when to implement the president's rule, when not to implement. Is that okay? Look at this. If it is supported by the Supreme Court, it will not be an embarrassment to the government. But if the Supreme Court tries to revoke the president's rule in Arunachal Pradesh, it is going to be a very severe embarrassment to the Narendra Modi's government. Not just that, it is also going to be a very serious embarrassment even to the President of India. Though the President of India posed some questions and he might have got convinced with the answers that are given by the government, then he went ahead with the putting the signature for the imposition of the president's rule. Is that okay? So many issues have come into the picture. Role of the chief minister, role of the government, role of the governor, role of the central government, role of the president. Everything has come into the picture in a single case. Clear? And at the highest level today, we have the judiciary and the Supreme Court. What exactly it is going to do, so we have to wait and watch. Is that okay? So let's wait for 2 days, and day after tomorrow, so we are going to come across again with the directions that are given by the Supreme Court. Is that okay? And before that one, all of you, I request all of you to please read Article 356 of the Indian Constitution. Is that okay? So once you have the thorough understanding on that one, then it will become easy for you to go ahead. Okay, I want you to read 2 articles. One is the Article 356 and second one is the Article 174 of the Indian Constitution. Kindly read these two articles, then you will get a clear-cut idea with respect to the president's rules. Am I clear? So thank you so much for being with me this evening, and tomorrow I'll see you with some more current affairs. Till then, I wish you all the very, very best. Take very good care of yourself. Good night.